Today is an important moment in the history of the PC industry, and I am so excited to share with you the story of Project Athena's second year. What sets Project Athena apart from anything we have done before is it's inspired by understanding of human needs to direct laptop innovation that will help people achieve their most meaningful contributions. We're doing this by leading the whole PC industry to develop a new class of advanced laptop designs that we verify to meet a new level of experience and that will set a benchmark for the best overall laptop experience. This new platform innovation approach is based on continuous research about people's needs, and we've taken our research learnings to design and deliver experiences people want. We started this when people were very mobile, and in particular, we immersed ourselves in what an emerging segment of people, independent professionals, needed most from their technology. Now, as we enter year 2 of the program, and the new needs of remote work and learning are so evident, we've discovered these needs are shared by so many more people. Project Athena is a long-term commitment we've made to lead the industry toward delivering transformative laptop experiences that enrich people's lives. Our North Star is to deliver laptops that excel at helping people create, achieve, learn, play, connect, and collaborate. Some of these experiences are more important now than they've ever been, such as collaborating with ease. This North Star is our guiding principle that the Project Athena Innovation Program will target to improve each and every year. And we're activating this innovation toward the North Star through a comprehensive approach with the industry that covers co-engineering partnerships with our OEM customers to develop and verify new laptops that meet the annual specification, ecosystem symposiums, workshops, investments, and open labs that will align the industry to accelerate laptop component innovation aligned with this vision, and exciting marketing campaigns that will connect these new laptop experiences to the people who need them. In the first year of the program, we verified and brought over 50 designs to market. In this second year of Project Athena, we're introducing an all-new platform brand and expect to have at least the first 20 designs in market by year end. Project Athena is changing how Intel and the industry innovate together with a clear compass. The ideal laptop experience is going to delight people by helping them focus, helping them adapt to the various roles they play throughout a day, and enabling to be always ready for whatever might come up. And we are really excited about the progress we've made on this experience with laptops that meet the second edition specification. In fact, we're so excited, today we launched the new Intel Evo platform brand, an exciting milestone for the program. The Intel Evo platform brand will only be featured on laptops that meet the requirements and pass the verification testing of the second edition specification. The Evo brand is special because it signifies the wonderful experience brought about by the deep co-engineering with our partners and the confidence of being verified by Intel. We deliver this wonderful experience through an all-new approach. Now, many of us are working and learning out of home offices, yet often we have to move away from our primary workspace to get away from noise, accommodate sharing space with a partner, or just get some fresh air outside. In fact, I often see some of my colleagues retreating to their parked cars to participate in video calls on their laptops in peace. And we need to be able to do that with the confidence that our video call quality will continue and we won't lose a step in the flow of our work. People will be able to do this with confidence without having to close background apps, lower the display brightness, hunt for an outlet, or go into some kind of battery saver mode. The Project Athena laptop experience that we're verifying is about creating confidence. People can use their laptop anywhere without having to worry about such compromises. Each Project Athena design is verified to deliver significant responsiveness gains versus a 2-year-old premium thin and light laptop when it's unplugged. In fact, through the Intel Evo platform verification process, we've seen a design deliver up to 2x faster responsiveness when unplugged versus the comparable 2-year-old premium thin and light design. And the laptops will quickly wake from sleep in less than a second. And they'll deliver 9 or more hours of battery life with full HD displays. And for longer or more intense days, a 4-hour charge can be achieved in under 30 minutes with full HD displays. Each Intel Evo platform branded laptop is tuned and verified with special Intel tools that simulate typical work conditions. And with the second edition, we made the tools more intense by adding more cloud and collaboration use cases to reflect what we continue to learn about what people are doing with their laptops. Beyond those wonderful experiences, each Intel Evo platform branded laptop is designed to a detailed specification. Now, I won't present the entire 79-page document that we published to our OEM customers, but I do want to highlight a few key items in the second edition Project Athena specification. The incredible new 11th Gen Intel Core i7 or Core i5 will be featured in every single Intel Evo platform branded laptop. That means everyone will deliver all the incredible performance that you saw earlier today to significantly speed up entire workflows in the areas of creating photos and videos, producing documents and presentations, or playing games. And the specification ensures that all that incredible performance is delivered in form factors that maximize the screen area relative to the laptop size, while maintaining lightweight to make it easy and stylish to carry. And unique new technologies in the 11th Gen Intel Core processors, like Intel Dynamic Tuning with machine learning, are employed to tune performance and responsiveness experience within these incredibly sleek designs in order to minimize compromise. In addition, every Intel Evo platform branded laptop integrates the best-in-class connectivity solutions with Intel Wi-Fi 6 and Thunderbolt 4 for connecting to docks and monitors and peripherals over a simple one-wire connection, which is great for reducing home office clutter. Now, as we originally tailored the experience to independent professionals, we noticed they tended to use video collaboration tools very frequently. So we required high-quality audio and webcam solutions in the specification. Now, that's so much more valuable to so many more of us as video collaboration needs have multiplied with remote work and learning. Now, that's a summary of the wonderful experience and capabilities that every Intel Evo platform branded laptop is designed and verified to deliver, and in fact, many of them will far exceed. And we don't stop there. We also use the Project Athena Innovation Program to incubate the next generation of experiences and technologies in select laptop designs so that Intel and the industry are better equipped to make them baseline experiences in the future. For example, we're working on some of the designs to integrate intelligence that runs at exceptionally low power that will actually eliminate the barking dog and the screaming children noises from our video calls, as well as make the laptop aware of when we're present so that it can make decisions about how best to keep our work secure and private by locking when we walk away, for example. Additionally, we're working to integrate 5G in some designs to bring high bandwidth, low latency, worry-free connectivity to the experience so that people can work more confidently anywhere as the 5G network rollouts continue. This idea of incubating new experiences over and above the baseline specification is how we will continue our relentless approach toward our North Star vision. Bringing all these requirements to life takes Intel's deep co-engineering and partnership with the ecosystem. I would now like to hand it over to Jim to show you how we do just that.
Thanks, Josh. Let me walk through how we've partnered to bring these products to life. The Athena program has many new breakthroughs. The left-hand side are breakthroughs around anticipation, anticipating how we're going to use our laptop. I have a sister-in-law, and she runs two businesses, very different. One is a professional transcoding business, and the other is a home services business. Different applications, different use cases, different environments. She, like all of us, also has a home and personal use set of use cases. So we need to anticipate how we all are going to use these in these different roles and deliver that technology. Left-hand side. Right-hand side is to make sure we deliver a device that you carry with you and meets your expectation. Let me talk about that in more detail. First, great laptop experiences begin with the right combination a foundational leadership product. Processing, graphics, Wi-Fi now up to 2 gigabits per second, Thunderbolt 4 integrated for high performance and USB 4 compliant. To go beyond that, we've invested in platform technology and innovation. So beginning with the motherboard, I have a Tiger Lake UP4 motherboard here, and we've developed technologies for extreme motherboard miniaturization so it can sit roughly behind the top 3 rows of your keyboard. This has then required us to develop heat dissipation, and so we've invented cooling technologies, passive and active, to dissipate that heat and get it out of the system, which allows us to perform. In display, we brought the bezel nearly to the edge of the form factor in the device, and then it created the problem of where to put the antennas. So you can have a 14-inch display and a 13-inch device, and we had to invent antenna technology that reduced the spacing of these antennas to 10% of what it was. In terms of anticipating the need, dynamic tuning technology allows you to run your laptop on the coffee shop table or your desk, and it goes to maximum performance. As soon as you pick that system up, it senses that it's gone mobile and has different requirements for skin temperature it must meet, and we adjust the performance capabilities to that requirement. The last one, which is really cool, there's many use cases here. One is you wake on your system, we call it wake on approach. It sees a person walk in front of your system. It looks to see if it's you. If it's not you, it doesn't log you in. If it is you, it logs you right in very efficiently and secure. Then we call it walk away lock. When you walk away from that system, it will lock itself up until you come back. So it saves battery life and keeps you secure. Building on these systems innovations, we've developed capabilities for scale. So we build a reference design our customers can use all or part of. We bring their systems into our labs when we power on. So we are in parallel learning from each other and accelerating time to market. On the right-hand side, we have a software capability in multiple ecosystems. So we are integrating and validating all these components and all these parts every week in a systematic way so we can release them to our internal teams and our external teams to accelerate high-quality development for scale. It doesn't end there. We then move to our ecosystem partners in the supply chain and their technologies that are required to bring these platforms together. In fact, what I'd say is all these technologies are required to deliver on the experience we want to deliver. So what we do is we step up with investment of engineers and techniques and technology, as well as investment dollars where required. One example is 2 years ago, we saw an opportunity to take full HD panels to 1 watt. So we worked with a couple suppliers and a few customers to bring that to market, to bring that technology to bear, and delivered 4 to 6 hours better battery life in their systems. And now 2 years later, multiple vendors and many, many OEMs and their designs are utilizing this capability in Athena designs. We help them plan their roadmap to meet the specification expectations. We open up 3 labs in the US, China, and Taiwan where they can bring their technologies in and verify their performance, responsiveness, and responsiveness to sleep state they need to achieve to meet the specifications. And we have over 140 devices from 50 companies certified for the Athena program. And then we come together once a year in 2 different cities to plan the future for the next specification and the specification after that, so we stay aligned to deliver better experiences. Then the final step is to bring these into designs with our customers. We do deep co-engineering in the hardware and software level across our wide customer base to deliver systems to meet the expectation and the promise of these experiences. And one OEM shared that they were able to reduce their motherboard size by 18%, grow their battery capacity by 20%, and their cooling capability by 28%. So getting all these components and technologies all working together, our partners all working together, brings the products to life. Back to you, Josh.
Thank you, Jim. That was great. Project Athena transforms the way we approach innovation. Mel, Wendy, and Sudha will now take you firsthand through the research, experience definition, and the unique key experience indicators we rely on to bring the Project Athena vision to life.
Thanks very much, Josh. It's my great pleasure to be here today to walk you through some of the research that's been feeding the innovation pipeline for Project Athena. My name's Gregg. I'm the Chief Technologist for User Experience and Sustainability in the Client Computing Group. And for the last few years, I've been also the research lead for Project Athena. And decided today to walk you through a couple of the findings from the research studies that we've been doing so that you can see some of the highlights of what we've been seeing as we travel all over the world for this program, and also show how the research starts to inform the decisions that are being made by designers and architects, and ultimately the assessments group that you'll be hearing about a little bit later. So to begin, let's take a look at that process. And as I mentioned, it all begins with the research. What you're seeing here are the series of steps that we take based on the initial beginnings of having fieldwork where we're actually going and talking to the people that we really care about for this product, but also the way in which we translate those findings and make them actionable. So my part of this is to go out and actually interview, talk to, follow around the kinds of people that we think are really going to benefit from this program. But then we also have to turn that into things that are both actionable and measurable. So my role changes from being the person advocating for the user to then translating the things that we really want to measure. And so that's exactly the process that you'll be hearing over the next few minutes. And it's fair to say that this is a very exciting program because we do get to put the user in the center of the picture. And what you're seeing on these slides are real fieldwork photos from our latest study. So this time we decided that we were going to seize the moment and have a look at the experience of people working from home during the lockdown. You're going to be able to see some of those insights in the next few minutes. But it is one of the things that we've done this year that's a little different. Each year we do a different focus on the research studies. And this time, our focus on working from home was a next step from the original research that we did the year before. So I thought I'd share that first and then get to the new ideas. So when I first joined this program a couple of years ago, what we really wanted to do was to make sure that we were up to date with our research and the kinds of people that we were building a laptop for. And from my point of view, as somebody who used to work as a university professor and somebody who's been studying the future of work for many years, I thought it was important that we reflect the real experiences of people who are growing up on a laptop. So we chose for this study, we're always pretty judicious in who we decide to interview, but we thought we'd focus on these particular groups. So students who are often embarking on new kinds of technology use in college. Also people who are starting their own business, so entrepreneurs, people who are in the startup mode, and also people who are entrepreneurs of their own brand. So you'll see here the live streamers and people who are creating a lot more content on their own because I think there are a number of things we can do to help them. And then finally, the freelance market, which since the last recession, which was when I did another really big study of people who were working from home, this new idea of making a living contract to contract has become much more common, right? So we're seeing a number of people who are working in the so-called gig economy, which stretches all the way up to the high-end consultant class. And so these are the sorts of people that we were focusing on in that initial study. And a couple of those findings, here you're seeing one of the things that was very interesting to us from the point of view of how people are managing their work, how they're using their device, and the sort of interactions with that device. We saw a clear trend for people to use lots and lots of tabs. So the photo that you're seeing here from the fieldwork has literally hundreds of tabs open. And Christopher, who met in Sweden, was somebody who was really running his life through his browser. In fact, it crashed once and he got very concerned that he was going to lose these tabs again, and got his own extension to make sure that didn't happen. And what's interesting about this trend too is that people are choosing the sorts of software that will enable them to see all of that content and have access to it very quickly. In this study, one of the findings that was also important was this idea that 4 different modes were consistent in how people use their device. So you'll see this in the diagram. We saw people using their laptops much more than we were expecting in communication and sharing modes, so like sharing content with other people and being social, but also this creation mode, making a PowerPoint, making a blog post, being able to do that live stream. Things that are becoming much more about facing the world with your device. And the personal organization and expert production modes were also important for people's sense of professional accomplishment, getting things done, and also where they wanted to focus. So this concept of the 4 modes of computing has been a consistent finding in the Athena research that's also guided some of the choices you'll hear about later on workload assessment. Okay, so another finding from this initial study that we found interesting was the use of cloud services. So while I mentioned the G Suite ecosystem for Christopher, we were also seeing that a range of different free software platforms were being adopted by people, as a way of just having ease of access to a range of different things, different roles and different projects that they were working on. And this starting to influence the way that they were choosing to use their devices and to use these different platforms as they became more professional. So the key point here is, if you start using your Gmail service as a student, it's more than likely that you're going to be used to that more consumer-facing platform as you become a professional. And we're sort of seeing that pretty regularly. So moving on to the most recent research, and after the study of independent professionals and young hip students and creatives, we decided we would focus this year on employees of companies, and as well focusing on the specificity of what it's like to work from home under the conditions that a lot of us have been facing. So here you're seeing an illustration on the right of somebody who was working from home, and we asked everybody to draw what their household looked like during this experience, and just to show the sort of change in people's patterns of activity and how the real desire was to be able to have a room of your own, so to speak, but also that people were feeling, pretty trapped in that lockdown environment on more than one level. And I really like that cat number 1 is mentioned in that illustration, and the cats were a big part of the household. So it's probably quite obvious, but the thing that we wanted to emphasize in this new research was just how much people had kind of discounted the amount of social activity that they have in their office and in their traditional workplace, and how much that was putting more pressure on the laptop. Now that the laptop has to be the place where all of these things take place, the casual interactions as much as the more formal work interactions. And so the laptop really becomes the one point of success or failure for the user, and that puts a much more heightened responsibility on us to make sure that their experiences are not being affected too much by anything that will make them even more anxious than they are in this strange world that we are living in right now. So big finding from this research is that those who are working in traditional companies were having a little more trouble adjusting, partly because the way their work is organised assumes a face-to-face by default. So a lot of the hierarchies and social interactions and even the scheduling of software that's coming from enterprise suites was often having trouble fitting into the chaos of home. But those who were working in a more agile way for more autonomous companies that are empowering their employees to choose for themselves what kinds of technology they want to use, they seem to be adjusting pretty well. And the part that was interesting was thinking about those who are in the middle, those who are making choices to use supplementary devices so that they can work around what's been issued to them by their company. And so we're seeing things like Slack, and we're seeing things like tablet use as adjacent choices to the primary device for these more agile workers. I call them the enterprise renegades because they're creating their own shadow IT to stay productive. So they're just a couple of insights from the 2 studies that I've had the pleasure of leading over the last 2 years. I'll now hand it over to Wendy March, who's going to show what the design process is like as we put this into the Project Athena spec.
Thank you, Mel. So as a designer, I work with engineers and researchers, and basically I sit in the middle, trying to work out what users are really trying to do and how it makes sense for them to do it. Mel leads ethnographic research, and then I work out how to solve the problems revealed by that research, and then work with engineers to work out how to create solutions to those problems. Sometimes it is as simple as that sounds, but when it's not, it's because we're all using the same words but meaning really different things. So when Project Athena started, we were talking a lot about people being mobile, but I realized that the engineers were seeing mobility through their own experience of moving around a big corporate campus all day. They were moving, but they weren't mobile in an unpredictable environment the way our research participants were, moving between different places or even around their own home. So I needed the engineers to step outside their own experiences and think differently about how to tackle the problems faced by our research participants. How could I get the engineers to think differently? To start, I created personas that we could design for. Personas are not a specific person. We do make them up, but we directly base the personas on the experience of our research participants. Design personas realistically represent the problems people face with technology in their everyday lives. To give you an idea of personas and how we work with them, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of our favourites, Evelyn and Jackie. So this is Evelyn's day in the life. Evelyn works in a co-working space and her schedule is really unpredictable. So we created Evelyn to be a journalist from Brooklyn, because we wanted to show the reality for independent professionals of moving between lots of different places and just how hard it is for Evelyn to plan ahead if she needs to find a quiet place to sit and interview someone, for instance. So it's really important for Evelyn to be able to depend on her laptop all day because she wants to find the best place to work and not have to decide based on the location of the nearest power outlet. In our new COVID-19 reality, Evelyn would be working from home like the rest of us, and Jackie, who is another one of our personas. Jackie represents someone who works from home and has to juggle spaces and places and roles. So we created Jackie to be a realtor. She's based in Atlanta, and even when we were talking about her last year, we deliberately created a persona who primarily works from home, except when she's out meeting clients or showing houses. So Jackie has to work around her kids' schedules and works from a desk that has gradually taken over the whole dining room, as you can see in the picture. So she's constantly switching between her tasks and her different roles. So to the engineers, it's really important to think that being mobile can include being in the house, because for Jackie, her challenges include finding a quiet place in the house, especially when her kids are at home, or talking to people from the car, or working from the kitchen counter in an empty house she's listing that no longer has working Wi-Fi. And she's completely at the whim of her clients, so it's hard to plan where she will be. So my work feeds into 2 distinct types of projects. The first is developing realistic workflows, and the second is defining future architecture. So the first is Sudha's team, who use the research insights and personas to evolve their workflows and define test conditions and the key experiences that matter to our users. It's really important for us to understand, the shifts in applications that people are actually using and how they're using them, especially as those applications shift to the cloud. So this is an example from the research that Mel just completed and shows the applications that Paula, one of our research participants, uses on a daily basis. We look at which applications she always has open or occasionally, how many tabs, etc. And then I take that data to update the day in the life models for our personas. One of the important frameworks for capturing the work our personas are doing are these 4 modes of computing. When we think about the work that people do and what a day looks like for our people, it's easy to just focus on the expert production mode. That's the way we describe our jobs to other people. So I say I'm a researcher or I'm a designer. But our laptops have to really excel at supporting our users for all their tasks, especially expert production. But our days are mostly made up of these other modes, and people really expect to be able to switch easily and confidently between all these modes throughout the day. So from meeting with clients over a video conference call in communication and sharing, to collaborating on content with colleagues, and of course, planning their week. Increasingly, independent professionals spend time creating social media content about their work. It takes lots of time and it isn't really what they're best at. So it's an area where technology innovation can really help. In the current situation of remote work, people are doing even more of their work and communication through their laptop. So those activities and applications are becoming increasingly diverse. So creating that shared understanding of the way that people are working is important for Sudha's team. And it's also really vital as we look at future platforms with the architects. We need to make sure that we're creating platforms that can support people in their everyday lives and remove challenges, especially as their jobs require new skills and new tools. With the pandemic, we're all finding ourselves working in new ways. Things have changed, and we don't know for how long. Many people are now finding that their lives are more like those of our personas because they're working from home in an often unpredictable or unstable environment, and everything has to be done remotely. So for us, giving our users a way to deal with interruptions and unpredictability is still key to the user experience. Making the details feel real through personas and storyboards of new ideas helps us make meaningful design decisions. It helps us and the engineers prioritize as a team because we can all see the problem in the same way through the experiences of personas like Jackie and Evelyn. For example, we recognized that having to plan where they were going to be before starting a video conference was a factor that caused a lot of anxiety for both Jackie and Evelyn. They wanted to look and sound professional and had to plan ahead to be in the right location for a particular call, or make sure that everyone else at home knew they couldn't be interrupted. Our priority for design became collaboration. If we could help them have video calls without everyone hearing what was happening around them or seeing the house behind them, then we would have a laptop they would choose over others because it would give them the flexibility they needed. We started our focus on noise cancellation for Evelyn in her busy co-working office, but realized it's just as important for Jackie and the rest of us because the people and animals in your house are even more uncontrollable than your colleagues, and you want to be confident that people can hear you. As we see in these examples, having wolves in the background or your AC coming on and off can be just as disrupting as having a whole room full of people talking. So because we are all now working from home, my team and I are having some great conversations, turning noise cancellation algorithms on and off and seeing if our colleagues can hear us clattering silverware and eating lunch. Because of this unexpected test environment, noise cancellation's getting pretty good, and we're really focusing on making sure that it can work with any conferencing app we are using, and of course without using too much power. We all want to send the right image, and we don't want to reveal too much detail of our lives. Video conference backgrounds are really useful to hide your untidy room or the fact that you're sitting in the basement, but they still don't work very well, and they use lots of power. We don't all have the luxury of a perfect work from home environment, so we're focused on making virtual backgrounds better for everyone. Our next question for Athena is to understand what's different for our go-getters as their work is increasingly remote. How do we need to change what we do for Jackie if all her real estate sales experiences are moving online? Will Evelyn ever go back to a co-working space? Are we all live streamers now? And if so, what will we need from our laptops? Now over to my colleague, Sudha Ganesh, who will describe how she uses the research to define our Project Athena verification methodology.
Thank you, Wendy. You heard Wendy and Mel talk about their research on how people use their laptops and what are their pain points and some of their expectations and unmet needs. Josh talked about the vision of Project Athena and the North Star experiences that we are trying to deliver. I am excited to explain how we bring this vision to reality with an automated test implementation that drives our Project Athena execution, optimization, or platform engineering, and even the final verification. Our test implementation is based on a new approach, and our approach is anchored on user needs. But first, there are many existing tools in the industry, and the intent of these tools, or the approach of these tools, are running benchmarks and tests just to generate a repeatable and a reproducible score by running them in an unrealistic controlled condition, so the scores are comparable for component testing. For example, the tests are run in a way, like in a lab condition, where many softwares are uninstalled and many services disabled, and it's even disconnected from the internet. And there are no other applications or web pages that we all have open. While this is valid for engineering comparisons, and we continue to use them, and we continue to compete on them, but it's not reflective of the laptop experience that we're trying to bring to market through Project Athena. Hence, our approach is about having a test methodology that provides people a dependable preview of how their laptop is going to perform in their daily life and what experience they can expect with their laptop in their daily activities. We anchored our new methodology based on 3 user needs. Number 1, we used our research to understand how people use their laptop and what are the conditions under which they use their laptop. And then we defined what we call a realistic test conditions that we use for all Project Athena testing. The second principle is about understanding what people do with their laptop, the meaningful tasks, the meaningful activities they do on their laptop every day. And then we created automated workflows that we use for our testing. And the third principle is about focusing on what matters to people, what experiences that helps with their daily life that we can improve. Our definition of realistic conditions starts with out-of-box condition, the way OEMs ship the device to the end user, and with that, we have nothing uninstalled and nothing disabled, and it is always connected to the internet. And with our second edition, we're making it even more aggressive by creating multiple cloud accounts and being logged into multiple cloud accounts. And we also have many of the favorite applications and also the commonly open web pages open. In addition to that, we have our laptop brightness, the display brightness set not at 80 nits, not at 100, or not at 150 nits, but at a user representative 250 nits. And we've made it even more realistic by conducting all of Project Athena testing while running on battery. And this approach of testing not under those controlled conditions of the traditional methods, but under these realistic conditions that's reflective of how people use their laptop, is a departure compared to our traditional approaches. Our second principle is about reflective and representative workflows that comprehends the most meaningful work people do. Our goal is not to focus on one or two long compute-intense operations, but comprehend the daily interaction, daily applications, the usages, and the tasks people perform on their laptops. Last year, we introduced this concept with the simple workflow, and the workflow had a lot of local applications, local content creation with data being in the local drive. But with more refined research from Wendy and Mel, we saw an opportunity to make the workflow even more meaningful and even more realistic by including a lot of the cloud interactions and a lot of the collaboration interactions so that we can actually deliver an improved, connected, and cloud experience with our second edition workflows. And our approach to defining this workflow is based on research, and we started with Evelyn as an example. We started our workflow definition where Evelyn starts her day. We started the day with Evelyn catching up on her friends and family on Facebook. She catching up with a Gmail on personal email. And then she goes about her day, opening Outlook, checking the emails, opening the Outlook attachments she has, and reviewing those documents, and editing those documents and sharing over the cloud so that all of her teammates can access. And she collaborates with the team over Slack and communicates with the rest of the colleagues. And then she saves her content to the cloud. She works with her customers who don't necessarily use the Office applications. Hence, she uses the G Suite applications and then saves her content over Google Drive. We've also captured some of her collaboration activities as well as her video and audio conference calls. We also captured when Evelyn watches some of the YouTube videos, as well as she ordering a few things for her kids on Amazon. And with this approach, we comprehended Evelyn's entire day in the life and automated that workflow. And it is this workflow that we run for all Project Athena testing. So the next principle is about key experiences that we want to deliver. Our approach is about focusing on few key experiences that improves people's laptop experience in what they do every day. With our second edition, we're raising the bar with expanded interactions, comprehending the cloud interactions and the collaboration interactions. And also we're raising the bar by taking aggressive goals. And the aggressive goals are based on user expectations, which is we're introducing the first time in second edition. The way we approach the experiences we want to deliver starts with, again, what Evelyn starts with. What is the first thing she does? She opens her laptop and she logs in, and she does that many times throughout the day. So our goal is to deliver an experience that allows her to log in, open the lid and log in an instant. And that's what KEI number 1 is about, delivering an instant resume where her laptop is ready for her even before she is. After logging in, what does she do? She goes about her day with different interactions, like opening Outlook, opening Facebook, and opening the attachments, opening the documents, and saving them to the cloud, and dialing into her conference calls or watching YouTube. All of these interactions as she goes through her day, She has an expectation of her laptop responding to her interactions without making her feel like she's waiting. It's often this waiting that causes frustration, and it's that frustration breaks the user's flow. And once the flow is broken, they lose focus of what they're doing. Our goal is to deliver this snappy responsiveness by reducing frustration. To reduce the frustrations, we are reducing the response times so we can deliver an improved responsiveness. And we're also taking an aggressive goal of delivering these responsiveness even on batteries so Evelyn does not have to compromise her experience. This takes us to the third KEI, which means while we deliver this improved responsiveness, we also want to deliver a long battery life so that she is not anxious about having to charge her laptop during the middle of the day. The approach we took in delivering to these uncompromising responsiveness has three principles again. First one is to identify what kind of interactions actually are likely to break the flow. And then we used our user studies to understand the user expectations on what it takes to stay in the flow. And finally, we set aggressive targets and developed methodologies so we can measure against these aggressive targets. Hence, we automated the entire workflow with about 250 interactions. But not all interactions are pain points. So we selected 25 representative interactions that we believe reflects all of their daily interactions. And if we improve these 25, we believe that we're improving their overall laptop experience. So with these interactions, we comprehended the cloud interactions, the content creation interactions, the collaboration interactions, and we also paid attention to interactions that has different expectations in users' mind. When Evelyn is creating her content, and then she's trying to save her work content on OneDrive, she has a different expectation of what it takes to stay in the flow, and then has a different expectation when she's trying to start a video conference, and then she has a different expectation when she wants to just select a menu on the PowerPoint. Hence, it was important for us to understand those differences in their expectations for each of these interactions, and then we set individual unique targets for each interactions based on their expectations. We believe this approach of understanding the user expectations and setting unique targets and then improving the response times allows us to deliver a flow experience that allows people to stay and get their work done with anything that they're trying to do with their laptop. So the next question for us was about how do we know what keeps users in the flow? How do we understand their expectations? And then how do we map those expectations to engineering targets? So to understand user expectations, we adopted this methodology called MOS methodology or mean opinion score methodology. The way it works is simple. We had many laptop users experience these interactions on different devices while we varied and controlled the response times they experience. And we asked them to rate their experience on this MOS scale of 1 to 5, 1 being bad and then 5 being excellent. And then we looked at all their feedback when people rated their experience as MOS 4.0 for every interaction. And then we looked at why they rated it as 4.0 and what was the corresponding response time that made them answer their feedback as 4. Why MOS 4.0? Why did we focus on MOS 4.0? By definition, MOS 4.0 is what definition is that it is good experience with no perceivable annoyance. To us, what that means is it is 4.0, that's the corresponding response time is a minimum response time to stay in the flow. When Evelyn is publishing her Word content to OneDrive, users rated that as a MOS 4.0 when the corresponding response time was always less than 3 seconds. So this gave us a way to map the user expectations to an engineering target. Another example is when Evelyn is trying to get on a video conference, people rated that experience as a 4.0 when it was less than 2 seconds. Using this approach, we came up with 25 unique engineering targets based on 25 unique expectations. To summarize, we identified about 25 interactions that we believe, if we improve those, we believe we're improving the entire laptop experience. And then we did user studies to understand what breaks their flow and then what keeps them to stay in the flow. And then we found refined user studies to help us map those expectations to engineering targets. For second edition, we are raising the bar that all Project Athena second edition devices must meet a minimum of MOS 4.0. What this means is that all Project Athena devices come with that snappy responsiveness or this uncompromising responsiveness. And it's even more aggressive because we're raising the bar to deliver this uncompromising responsiveness while running on battery. Speaking of battery life, we are making significant changes to the battery life workflow. It's far more realistic and far more representative than any other battery life metric that exists in the industry today. Last year, we introduced battery life testing under these realistic conditions and setting with 250 nits. And to make the transition easy in the ecosystem, we started with a very simple battery life test last year. With second edition, we're raising the bar with stringent battery life goals and even more aggressive by delivering battery life targets on an aggressive scenario. Our first edition was a simple wireless web browsing test, but it was run under realistic test conditions. And with that battery life test, we delivered 9 or greater than 9 hours with our first edition. But with our second edition, we're not just doing wireless web browsing anymore. We've expanded the battery life workflow to include browsing, to include creating the content with local applications and local data, and creating the cloud content with applications and data in the cloud. And we're including a little of the audio video conference and YouTube, all of these applications in our battery life scenario. We've even made sure that the ratio of these applications is reflective of the telemetry usage so that it really reflects the way people use their laptop every day. On this aggressive scenario, under these aggressive test conditions, we're still delivering 9 or greater than 9 hours. Not only we're delivering 9 or greater than 9 hours, and we're also delivering an uncompromising responsiveness on battery. This approach of testing under realistic test conditions, using a workflow that represents what people do, and then delivering experiences that matter to people, that's what makes this Project Athena verification and this testing approach first of its kind in the industry. We talked about our realistic test conditions, we talked about our meaningful workflows, and we talked about the experiences we're delivering. How do we ensure that we are delivering to this vision? Yes, with rigorous verification process. Our verification process starts with using a suite of our automated tools. And actually, this automated tool has been deployed and released to all our OEM and ODM and some of our ecosystem partners. And it requires setting up live accounts and cloud accounts. And once after that, the tool installs and allows to select a particular KEI that we want to verify, and then checks for requirements. And we do have a suite of tools, so similar tools for Chrome with a similar approach. And once the tools are installed, the tool automatically goes through and sets up realistic test conditions that's required by our methodology. And then it executes all of the workflows that's representative of the day in the life while running on battery. Each workflow takes about 20 minutes. Each iteration, one iteration of the workflow takes about 20 minutes. Because we're delivering a consistent, connected, and cloud experience, we require the test to be run 15 times or 15 iterations. And we require at least 12 out of those 15 iterations to meet the targets that we have set, the aggressive KEI targets that we have set. And we also require a battery life test that each iteration of the battery life workflow is about 2 hours, and we require 3 iterations of that battery life flow. Once completed, the tool displays the status of the verification. Even before we get to this rigorous verification process, we start with engaging with our ecosystem partners very early in the process. And we work with our customers and we design the devices with co-engineering efforts. And we also work with engineers and our customers in optimizing the platforms to ensure that we are meeting to these aggressive targets. With our bold vision of improving laptop experience, with an implementation anchored on people's laptop pain points, and a rigorous verification that allows us to deliver to those vision, we truly believe our second edition Project Athena laptops will deliver an amazing experience that people can actually depend on. Thank you. Josh, back to you.
Thank you for sharing in our journey of Project Athena. And the story doesn't end here. This second year of Project Athena is an important milestone in the journey where we put in place a unique infrastructure to verify a wonderful laptop experience, as well as incubate the experiences of the future. And we'll continue to build from here to ensure our verification is meeting the evolving needs of go-getters. We'll continue researching, co-engineering, aligning our ecosystem, and ensuring verification in relentless pursuit of the North Star experience for years to come. We can't wait for you to get your hands on these new laptop designs. The incredible 11th Gen Intel Core processor, combined with our approach to innovation of Project Athena, results in a range of new Intel Evo platform-branded laptops that will set the benchmark for what a wonderful overall laptop experience should be. We expect to see more than 20 new Intel Evo platform-branded laptops introduced by the end of this year. Only Intel can re-architect laptop innovation and measurement and lead the PC industry to move the laptop experience into the future. Thanks for tuning in.